All right, hello and welcome to part one of setting up a development environment for ScriptHookV.net and making your own GTA 5 single player modification. First things first is I'm gonna go over just what this part one's what we're gonna be doing. So what we're gonna be doing is downloading ScriptHookV and downloading ScriptHookV.net SDK. And don't worry, I'll explain everything for you. Main thing that I'm going to ask you is for your patience because not everyone is going to be on the same level as maybe you are in terms of your development journey. So others might not know exactly what we're doing, and you might know exactly what you're doing. So ultimately, bear with me if I'm explaining a couple things. Just know that I'm doing it because I wish I had these resources when I was starting up making GTA 5 content. So ultimately, if you feel like it's too slow or anything along those lines, you can change the speed of the video if you'd like. However, rest assured, I will be explaining everything in detail, whether it's a line of code or anything along those lines. I'll make sure that I give you a good understanding as to what's happening. That said, I do recommend that you at least understand the basics of the C Sharp in .NET or just in general programming, whether that's what variables are, what if statements are, conditions, methods, and functions, and all that. If you don't, no worries. I'll do my best to explain, but this isn't really a coding tutorial. This is how to set up the environment and how to use the resources at your disposal. Something I wish kind of existed, and there are videos like that, but they are a bit older and, in my opinion, outdated. So let's get started. The website you see on your screen right now is the ScriptHookV.net developer documentation through GitHub.io. So I'm going to be using this as an example and as a template, and again, going more in detail with this. So first things first, make sure you have GTA 5 installed, and make sure that you have Visual Studio 2022 or later installed to your computer. Assuming that you have GTA 5 and Visual Studio, again, this isn't a tutorial on how to use Visual Studio. Rather, I'm going to be showing you what you can do as a developer to make scripts for GTA 5. So assuming you have those installed, the next thing you're going to want to do is download ScriptHookV. I'm sorry, just normal ScriptHookV. You can find it on this website. It'll be in the description. And in here, there's going to be a download. You're going to download this. Now, I've already downloaded, so I'm not going to download it again, but I will show you how it looks like in the actual download. So when you download ScriptHook, just the normal version here where it says download, you'll click this right here. And by the way, if you're watching this on a later version, or I'm sorry, on like a later date and there's a newer version, you should be able to do the same thing that we're doing in this video. If anything does change, I'll take this video down and do a new video. So when you download ScriptHookV.net, just the normal general basic one where it says download right here, this is what's going to open up. You're going to go to your bin, and in bin, you're going to transfer these three files over to your GTA 5 main directory. Once you've done that, and just to show you what I've done here, this is my GTA 5 main directory. They're in here already. The second thing you're going to want to do is exit out of that, go back to this main site, the developer documentation, and download and extract ScriptHookV.net SDK. Now, I'll give you a little demo as to how to do that. When you open it, it's gonna take you to GitHub, but on the right hand side, it's gonna say ScriptHookV.net version 3.5.1 as of the time of recording. Again, if it's a newer version, when you see this, completely normal. Just go ahead and follow the instructions. In here, just giving you a changelog. The main thing you want to do is download this one right here, ScriptHookV.net.zip. So what I'm not gonna download because I've already downloaded a bunch of times, but this is how it looks like in once you actually open it. So once you've downloaded the zip file, and again, just this one, you don't need these two. You're gonna go ahead and see actually a lot of things in here, decent amount at least. The main thing that you're gonna want to move over to your GTA 5 main directory is ScriptHookVDotNet3, ScriptHookVDotNet2, and ScriptHookVDotNet.asi. These three things. Now, if you want to transfer the ScriptHookV.net.ini, The INI is a setting file that you can adjust certain things like the console key and all that. I would actually recommend moving the INI over to your main directory of GTA 5. Technically, the documentation doesn't say to do this, but I recommend it. So these 4 files, don't worry about the other readmes and the XMLs and stuff like that. Just these main 4 files, you're going to move them over to your main GTA 5 directory. Just drag and drop. I'm gonna pause for just a second and explain why there's 2 ScriptHookV.net. So you have ScriptHookVDotNet3 and 2. The reason there's 2 is because this is version 2 and this is version 3. Version 3 has a lot more things you can do that version 2 does not offer. So, and I'll explain later in a future video in regards to when to use version 2 and when to use version 3. 9 times out of 10, use version 3. If you're getting issues, things that just aren't working correctly, go and downgrade to 2. Again, though, I'll explain how this all correlates later on. For now, just focus on transferring what I just mentioned earlier to your GTA 5 directory. Once that's in the directory, what's going to happen now is you can go back to the developer documentation. I would actually bookmark, by the way, the GitHub, because in the wiki section, there's a lot of good information here, by the way. There's amazing resources, code snippets, getting started, etc. A lot of this is what I've spent hours reading and testing, hence why I'm making this video, is things that work, things that don't work, is what why I'm making this series. So once you finish watching this series, if you need more information, go back and look at these documentations. However, I will be explaining the majority of it here. All right, so just to recap, we have downloaded GTA 5, assuming that you've done that before watching this, and you have downloaded Visual Studio, the latest version. This is all prior to watching this video. Next, make sure that you have downloaded ScriptHookV, which we did that already, and we put those files to your main directory. And make sure that we have downloaded the SDK, which stands for Software Development Kit, and transferred the files that I mentioned before. Again, those files are ScriptHookVDotNet3, 2, INI, not required, but I recommend it, and ASI. These 4 things transfer over. And once you have done that, congratulations, you are one step closer to creating your own GTA 5 single player modification. What we're going to do next is actually get your development started, at least your environment started for starting to create scripts. So let's get started on that. All right, so go ahead and open up Visual Studio. And I'm going to walk you through what you should be doing any time you want to create a GTA 5 modification. Okay? So what you're going to do, you're going to create a new project in Visual Studio. Again, I'm going to assume that you know how to do that. If you don't, just Google it. It's a really straightforward. But when you create a new project, make sure you select class library .NET framework, exactly as you see it. There's other class libraries that are not that don't include .NET framework that you don't want to select. So I'll give you an example. In the search bar, I'm just going to type in class library. And there's many of them. See how there's just a normal class library, there's a universal one, here's the one we need. So make sure it's exactly as you see here, .NET framework, and make sure it says that it creates a DLL over here. So basically a class library. So once you selected that, you'll click next. Now, project name, again, I'm going to assume that you at least know the fundamentals of Visual Studio. This is the part where you can name whatever you want to name it to. You can name this first GTA mod. In my situation, I'm going to name this YouTube tutorial. So I'm going to do YouTube tutorial. And in the location, if you want to save this somewhere else, you can, or you can just leave that as the default. Again, it's entirely up to you. Some people will create a different folder on their desktop to save anything that relates to modding. Again, you don't have to do that just yet. However, you can leave that how it is. Solution name, you can leave that the same. Don't worry about that. And then framework, this is quite important. You want to make sure that you do .NET Framework 4.8. If there's a new one later on that you see, I would still recommend 4.8 because that's a long-term supported version. You can try a newer one, but more than likely things might not work correctly. Unless otherwise noted, or if I make a new video saying that there is a new network supported, for now, keep on using 4.8 if you see this video. And then really, once that's done, you're going to click Create. Now, I'm not actually going to click Create because I've already have a file open exactly with this name. Now, when you click Create, you're not going to see this. It's going to show you something completely different. It's just going to show you a class 1 and a couple other things. In just a second, pause the video and go to the description. In the description, there's going to be a link that says Pastebin. It should be like pastebin.com or something along those lines. And it's going to have this exact code in the Pastebin. So go ahead and pause the video, copy that code, and paste it directly. Just do Control A, and then just, paste it straight in. All right, I'm going to assume that you've paused the video and have done that. Perfect. Now you're gonna see error messages like crazy because technically you haven't added any references yet to the um, to your actual program. So what you're gonna want to do, and this is all gonna come back to what we did earlier, you're gonna go over to the Solution Explorer to the right hand side, and it should look identical because I haven't changed any of the layout on my end. In the Solution Explorer, you're gonna right click References, and you're gonna select Add Reference. Now, this is gonna be trial and error for you if you're gonna be making your own scripts, because sometimes you need to add different directives or just different references when it comes to what you're trying to do. But for most general scripts, though, you're gonna want to add the following. So in the search bar, you're gonna type in forms, FORMS, and mine already has a check mark, but go ahead and put yours as a check mark. So you'll just click on it. Next, you're going to want to type in draw. Go ahead and click the little check, make sure there's a check mark. Once that's done, once you have forms and draw, head on down to browse down here. You're going to click on one more time browse down here as well. And you're going to open up your GTA 5 main directory. For me, it's different because I saved the .NET2 and .NET3 in a different area, but you'd want to technically do this in your directory. So go to your GTA 5 directory. Typically, you go to this PC and then just follow how you typically go to your directory. And here's where you really want to pay attention. Go ahead and add 3. You're going to select this once and you're going to click Add. When you add it, it's going to automatically have a check mark. Now, you're going to click on Browse again, and you're going to select 2, and then Add, and it's going to automatically have a check mark for version 2. However, make sure that before you click OK, you only have the number 3 selected. So unselect number 2. So again, just to recap, you have added .NET2. We're not actually going to incorporate it. But the reason I'm doing this for you, the reason I'm suggesting you should have 2 is in the future you need to switch to 2. You can at least just quickly add it as a reference through the browse section. So again, just make sure you have ScriptHookVDotNet3.dll selected with a check mark. Make sure you have forms selected, so system.windows.forms selected. Make sure you have draw, which is called drawing, selected. You don't have to worry about the design and all the other ones, just exactly how you see it here. Once you've done that, go ahead and click on OK. Next, what you're going to want to do is we want to make sure that when we build the actual solution, so when we start coding and we start creating the script, we want to make sure that it sends it to the scripts folder. So your GTA directory, you may need to create this if it's not there already, but go ahead if you haven't yet, in your GTA 5 main directory, make sure you create a scripts folder. It has to be called identical to scripts, lowercase, no capitals, no spaces, just simple scripts, okay? Once that folder is created, it should be empty. There shouldn't be anything in there, assuming you don't have that folder already created. If you have that folder already, skip, don't worry. However, here's what we need to do to make sure that your project gets sent to the script folder when you're done building. You're going to want to go and select or right click YouTube tutorial, or again, whatever the project is named. You're going to want to go to properties down here. In properties, it's probably going to take you to application first. So when you click on properties, go down to build events. Okay, third option, at least for me, but build events. Now, this isn't already included in there. So in the description, there's going to be just a way that you can copy this entirely. And you need to make sure it looks identical to this. So it should say copy and then the target path, all of this. Okay? Now, the only time you may need to make an alteration here is in the event you have GTA 5 installed somewhere else. So if you have two GTA 5 directories, because one's for 5N and one's for single player, make sure that between the quotation mark starting here and the quotation mark ending here, make sure that you type in the correct directory. However, if you just had it simply installed on Steam, you're not going to have to change anything. So once you've pasted it in the post build event command line, you'll do Control S to save, or you can just do File and Save All if you want, but Control S. So now what's going to happen when you can close out of that too. There's a little X there. Make sure you stay on class 1 .cs. However, again, just to summarize, what's going to happen now is anytime we build the solution, which you can either do by clicking build solution, or Control Shift B as in boy, as it says here, it's going to automatically compile the script over to the scripts folder, which is awesome. That means you don't have to go and and transfer and compile it and do all that. It does it for you. Have the computer do the heavy lifting, right? So that's essentially it. That is how you set up your environment. Now, some of you, this is all you need to know. Some of you is, you know what? I just needed to know how to add the reference. What's the difference between ScriptHook 2 and ScriptHook 3? Again, try to use 3, which is what we added as a reference up here. If you get errors or if documentation is weird, then switch to 2. And again, you just want to remove it and then add the 2 instead. However, you should be fine with ScriptHookVDotNet3. And we also went ahead and set up the post build event so that it builds the DLL file over to your scripts folder. Other than that, when you launch GTA, once you build everything and you've coded whatever you need to code, you'll launch GTA. In GTA, if you've already launched it, if you build it and then you launch the game, you should be good. You should be able to run the script. If you were in the game already, you were working on the script, make sure that you go into your console, which is you select F4. Now I have my console also binded to the trainer, so I can just click backspace to get rid of it. But you just want to type in reload and then open and close parentheses. This will reload everything in the script folder. Again, you don't have to do this if you've just now opened up the game after you build it. Other than that, that is it. Again, in the next video, I'm going to be going over a tutorial on how to use the developer documentation, how to create an actual script, and I'm going to go over the fundamentals of GTA scripting. Again, I expect in the next video that you at least know the fundamentals of C# and .NET, so understand what if statements are, conditions and variables and strings and all that. If you don't, again, there's some awesome tutorials out there. However, I hope to see you in part 2 when we actually build something together based on what we've done so far. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comments. I'll do my very best to answer them for you. Please consider liking and subscribing. If you like this content, please send me that signal, that like, that subscribe. That way I know that you guys want to continue to see things like this. And if you have any ideas for scripts, I am all ears. I'd be happy to take any suggestions later on. Other than that, though, thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome rest of your day. Bye bye.